Hi, comic book fans, and welcome to another suddenlycomics.com video. It's a Monday night, so it is the price variance. Alan and I have been doing this for over a year now. So, so there's something like 50 or 60 episodes of the price variance to watch if you want to go and catch up. Not that I imagine anybody's going to do that, right? This week, Alan and I are doing comics based on our favorite television shows, or some of our favorite television shows. I have to tell you that Alan's favorite television show is My Little Pony. So you need to go on to Alan's channel and you'll find him talking for half an hour about My Little Pony. Right. Okay, so here is, not really, he does talk about some other comics as well. Right. So my first one, oh no, it's Alan. Alan's first. It's Alan goes first.
Different show. Yeah. Strangely enough, I just heard about this on the Shakers. You know, I'm not sure if you know Longbox. They always do Shakers list.
Yeah.
And they just talked about this book. This book is hot now.
Oh, okay.
And it's one that from a TV series that I liked. So it was a book that I just picked up. Like I picked it up because I liked the series. I paid like $100 for it.
Okay.
And it's in a mid-grade.
Oh, the Jetsons. Yeah.
The Jetsons. I love the Jetsons.
Oh.
I was a big Jetsons fan. I always liked shows where it's like the future. So I like Star Trek. I like Star Wars. And I like the Jetsons.
Me too.
Like, and I always reference the Jetsons like in a lot of like my day-to-day life.
Meet the Jetsons.
Yeah. A really awesome show. So the Jetsons, though, this book, now it's like a $400 or $500 book.
Oh yeah, it's a beautiful book. Look at it.
Yeah, it's just a great one. And it has like the thing I love about it is this is the first appearance of the Jetsons, and it's got like all the characters on the cover. I just love when you can see all the characters. And this is Gold Key. It's the Gold Key #1. I'm not sure what, like, yeah, it doesn't say. It's from 1963, though.
Gold keys are quite difficult to work out.
To figure out, what Gold Key it is. But yeah, it's Gold Key Jetsons #1.
That looks like a really clean copy as well.
Yeah, it's probably like, I would say it's like a 5.0.
Okay.
Maybe it's like my comic shop graded it as a 4.0, but they're very harsh on their grading. The only thing that's going wrong with it is like there's a few ticks along the side.
Okay, maybe
Okay.
I would say a 5.0.
I would say a 5.0, like based on, I'm pretty accurate usually. So yeah, but it's a really nice copy. It's a really, like, this is one that I might get slabbed because it is such a nice copy.
Yeah, that's really good.
And it's a rare book. It is quite hard to find, actually. It was on my comic shop. I was like, oh, I love that. I love that series. And I picked it up for like $100 like a couple of years ago. But it was, now it's like a really expensive book. Now people kind of realize how great it is. But see, I always set the trends. That's my thing. I love the Jetsons. Great series. So yeah, that's my first.
Okay, so majority of my TV series is back from my childhood, just as I was coming out of my childhood, probably late teens, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is 80s. I think this is early 80s. And it's the ATeam.
Oh, wow.
Fantastic. Mr. T, look at him there. This is the ATeam #1. This is the first appearance of the ATeam in comics. This was from I've got all three of them actually. It was a 3-issue mini-series of the ATeam. I went onto a whatnot auction, and there was a guy selling these, and I got all three for about $30.
That's pretty good.
I've never seen them around before. They're quite rare to find. It's a Marvel comic. Yeah, it's got Spidey down here. So yeah, I enjoyed the ATeam when I was a kid. Well, I think I was in my sort of early 20s when ATeam came out. But it was Dukes of Hazzard, ATeam.
Yeah. I remember like ATeam was one of those shows that everyone would watch, and then the next day at school, everyone would talk about.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's how I remember it. I'm a little bit younger. Like I'm only in my 20s, so.
Yeah,
no.
I expect you were about 10 when I was 12. So, yeah, so there we go. Yeah. It's the ATeam.
Yeah, I love the ATeam actually. You know, ATeam, the format of the ATeam is one of those things like, you know, they would always have that mode, like the thing where they go into like, we gotta protect ourselves kind of mode, and then they do like a whole bunch of like engineering. Like, you know, like they make a whole bunch of cool things, traps and stuff like that. And that format has been used so many times since.
Yeah.
It's like one of those things like, oh, they're having an ATeam moment. You know, it's like, yeah, I love the ATeam. Actually, I don't own that book, so I'm going to probably pick that book up after. So whenever we do these shows, I always end up buying a bunch of books. It's kind of bad for my wallet.
Yeah, I won't be going to buy any My Little Ponies. Right. So
no, you're gonna buy it. I'm gonna force you.
It always reminded me of Mission Impossible when I watched it. But you know.
Oh, okay. Because they always get like
yeah.
There's this client. They always say client. It's a client that needs help with, you know. And it was always clients that couldn't afford to pay for them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I don't know how they ever made a living because they were.
I don't know how they made a living. Okay, so I'm gonna get into another show that I just recently picked this up. Actually, I had a low grade copy of this, but now I have like a reasonable grade, and it's one that I think is a really great book. G.I. Joe, first appearance of all the G.I. Joe characters. This book, I'm recommending this book as a good book to buy right now, because it's one that has huge nostalgia associated with it. And it is one that is really cheap right now. It's gone down. It's maybe like 60% down. It's like so cheap. I paid $100.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So like my original copy, I bought it at the height. Okay. And I was like, oh, I don't really want to pay that much for like a copy of G.I. Joe #1. So I paid like $30 for like a 2.0, and it's beaten up. It is really beaten up. So I was like, it's too beaten up. It actually irritates me every time I see it. It's that beaten up. It's like my Star Trek one. So I wanted to get a nice grade one. So my comic shop had like their auctions, and I was surprised how cheap this went. It was just a really, it's become really affordable again. And it's one that I think if there's ever another movie, which there will be, if there's ever another TV series, which there will be, it's like, it is like Americana almost. It's kind of like, to me, it's like, that 80s Americana.
Yeah.
And I think deep down, they'll always want to bring it back.
Yeah.
So I think G.I. Joe is just that typical book.
Didn't we get a Snake Eyes movie?
Yeah, we did. And that's part of the reason why this book has tanked. The Snake Eyes movie didn't do well. And whenever a movie doesn't do well, that's really bad for the comics.
Okay.
So, but I actually see it as a great buying opportunity, because I know that it's going to come back.
I might have a look for that, because if it's come down,
it has come down. $100 for that book is a good price. Usually it sells for about $150 to $200, just so you know.
Yeah. Okay.
So it was a good price.
Right. Okay. So the next one of these, actually, this is not something that I particularly watched on television, but it is from a television series. I think it has been on television, and there's been films. I just happened to pick a couple of these up, as it happens, you suddenly get a copy of it. And actually, I do quite like this cover. And I do like this cover. So it's Transformers is my next one. This is Transformers number 22. And I just like the
the frame.
The frame, yeah. So these 25th anniversary frames for Marvel. So what year would this have been? So 61 to is it 76, 86, something like that?
Yeah, I think it's around 85
85,
when they did that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They did a number of comics with this really nice border with all the characters. And actually, the comics.
There's collectors for that.
Yeah, I've got quite a few of these. I really like them. And it looks it's so incongruous against this great big
robot guy.
Yeah. So there we go. That's my next list, and that's really just this specific comic because I just really like the cover. I think it was really great with this 25th anniversary surround by it, and I do quite like the sort of the standard Marvel thing here where they put a picture of a character and they've got a great big transformer there. For me, I just find this comic aesthetically pleasing for some reason. There we go. That's the Transformers Marvel 25th anniversary issue. It's number 22.
Wow, that's a really great one. It's like almost like a double key because that border is like there's collectors for that. Like, usually they kind of command a little premium just to get that crazy border.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good one. I actually didn't even know that they did that for Transformers. I think that's kind of weird. I have Transformers #1 up above me right there, but okay. So I'm going to get more into nostalgia books and TV series. One of the ones that I'd mimic this as a kid is $6 Million Man.
Oh, great. Yeah.
So as a kid, I go and I can make the bionic sounds. I would always do that as a kid. Whenever I'd run super fast, even though I do it in slow motion, I'd be doing that. $6 Million Man. This one is actually kind of has a lot of potential behind it. I think it's Matt Damon. I guess he likes this show and he wants to do a live action movie of $6 Million Man. So this is one that might come back, actually. It is one that I loved as a kid. So I just picked it up because I liked the show as a kid, right? And
it's a Charlton comic as well, which is unusual.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. This is from 1976. And it's one of those ones where if you can pick it up pretty cheaply. This and Bionic Woman, I have both actually. You can pick up pretty cheaply. In a high grade, if somebody knows what it is, it is an expensive book.
Yeah.
But it's one of those ones where this is like when in the back issues you can find usually pretty cheap.
Because it's Charlton. People
don't realize that it's a good book. It's it is a good book. So I picked it up cheaply. I think I paid less than $20 for it. So it's like I love it. I'm a big geek that way. I like these weird like shows from the 70s. I grew up like doing the Bionic Man. I like that whole idea. Like I think they spent like $6 million to rebuild him.
We can rebuild him.
We can rebuild him. We can put all these robotics inside of him and make him like bionic. And it's just, I don't know. It's pretty great.
Really cheesy. It was such a cheesy show. And
it was so bad.
It was the actor who played it kept such a straight face, and he was always so serious.
Yeah.
Like the really awesome. Cheesy scripts.
Yeah. And I even had like as a kid, like a Play-Doh set. Like like where you could like they had like these little press things you could press and make your little Bionic Man and make his like bionic arms, and it was great. It was I loved the Bionic Man as a kid. But yeah, Bionic Man, I think it's got a lot of potential. So
right, okay. My next one, and again, this is from a TV series. It's not. I'll have to say this is not my generation. So this was sort of. I know I've got some friends who are really into this because they're sort of 10 years younger than me, and it was around when they were in their formative years. It's like people who were as teenagers in the 80s love 80s music. Teenagers in the 90s love 90s music, So, I liked Batman and I liked Star Trek. So this one is nostalgic for the people sort of 10, 15 years younger than me. Okay. But as it so happens, I have picked some of them up. I know you have got some more special issues of these, and I'll ask you to show them because I've just got a couple. And it is Masters of the Universe, He-Man, and Skeletor. I actually quite like this cover.
Yeah, it's a good cover.
With the sword coming down here. This is Masters of the Universe #2. And I also have Masters of, and I actually quite like this cover as well. I have, however, not got #1, Alan. Have you got #1 of Masters?
I got a bunch of #1s. So this is the one that has the first appearance, and it's like DC Presents. I think 26.
Yeah, that's really yeah.
47, yeah.
I actually quite like the comics. I actually prefer the comics to the TV series.
Yeah, actually, it wasn't too bad. The TV series was okay. It was okay. I watched it as a kid. And all my friends had all the figurines and the toys and stuff. I like
Great Skull.
So yeah, so it was all. This is one of those interesting comics because it was in Marvel, DC first, and then it came out in Marvel.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
so it was in both.
It's DC. Yeah.
Yeah. And then also the first appearance though is this little mini comic that came with the toys. This is quite rare. It's like kind of a cool little mini comic. Also Bruce Timm, he did a lot of the artwork for that. So it's actually Bruce Timm's first artwork. Like
I've got that one because you tipped me off about it, and I found
that's great. I actually have it right in front of me too.
You tipped me off about that, and I bought it for £7 from my local.
That's a really great deal, I think, actually.
Yeah. There's a UK comic YouTuber. I think you met him, Triple G, Peter, who I think was on cover.
I've never met him, but I know who he is.
He's a really big He-Man fan. He's got a Castle Grayskull and the whole thing and all the figures. Anyway, yeah. You can get people who are a bit obsessed about that. So.
Yeah, it was one of those shows like that was beloved by kids in the 80s. It's sad that it got wokeified. The new version was it was sad. Like I almost felt like crying after watching.
I know one or two of my friends are into Masters of the Universe who were, they almost went into mourning for about a month.
Yeah, I mean, I made a reactionary video to it, and I was like holding back the tears. It was so bad. And so like disgraceful to the series that it was like, man, why did they do this? Yeah. Okay. Sorry. That's my little rant. Okay. So do you have any more Grayskulls to show or?
No, that's it. It's your choice. It's your
Okay. Okay. So I got my last one and I'm debating about which one. I pulled a bunch of books. I'm going to show something modern. Just, we got to get some of the young kids, the young whippersnappers to start watching our show. So this is a modern book. This is The Mandalorian.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So we got this is actually a kind of a key book for The Mandalorian because it's the first time you get the two of them on the cover.
Oh yeah.
So this is the first cover appearance.
Now, which came first? Did the television series come first, or did the comic come first?
The TV series.
Yeah.
So this is a recent book. I think this is like last year, or it's pretty recent.
Yeah.
There's actually another magazine that came out earlier with them on it. I have that as well, but this is like the first comic appearance of the two. So this is kind of a key book.
Yeah.
It's the variant copy, actually. So this is Darth Vader #20, but it's a limited edition variant or something. It's like
Yeah. It's
a gold. They came out with the Darth Vader series. They always had like these gold versions. Like they'd have the regular cover and then the variant. The variants for the Darth Vader run are actually worthy of getting, because they always put some key characters' first cover appearance on them.
Okay.
So you actually, I would recommend looking through this Darth Vader series and getting all the variant covers.
Okay.
Because they're actually worthy of spec. Because again, cult following,
Yeah.
Star Wars fans are fanatical.
Yeah.
And like whenever I go to my comic shop, my local comic shop, there's like no Star Wars books on the shelves, because everyone's pre-ordered them. Like there's these, Star Wars fans that just pre-order every book. And so it's really hard to get any. And I'm like, okay. So I always ask the guy, do you have this Star Wars book? And then he's like, oh yeah, this guy didn't pay for it. I'll steal it from his box. so that's how I get it. I have to get like the people's copies that they didn't pay for. So yeah, it's really diehard fan base. I like books like that, because they hold their value more.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, my next comic is one of my. I really love this comic. Okay, and I didn't have a copy of it until recently. And again, I was in a Whatnot auction. There wasn't a lot of people there. There was a few people there, and the guy was doing Bronze and Silver Age comics, which is what I like. And he's going through, and the comics are selling for really good prices. And he brings this one out. And he says this is the second. He describes it as the first appearance of the Batmobile from the 1960 television show, right? And I'm going, I know that comic. That comic's the second appearance of Poison Ivy, right? Which is a bit more significant
than the Batmobile.
The Batmobile.
Yeah.
Plus, it is a fantastic cover. And we talked about my favorite. I showed a Batman in Allan's show it's Batman 66. This is a comic from that period when the show was on television. It's got the checkered top on it, which means it's from the 1960s. And it is a fantastic cover. And it's been homaged a few times as well. And it's Batman number 183. And we've got Batman and Robin in the Batcave, and they're watching television, and they're watching the adventures of Batman. And Robin's saying, hotline call Batman, let's get going. And Batman says, not tonight, kid. I'm staying in the Batcave to watch myself on television. And the box below says, holy emergency. What's the real reason Batman's goofing off?
That's cool.
Clue is on this cover. So there you go.
And that's the first Batmobile as well.
I think it's the
first 60s version of the Batmobile.
Yeah. And the second appearance of Poison Ivy.
Wow, I gotta find that book. Even if it wasn't for those other two things, I think that's just such a great cover.
It's a great cover.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of homages to this as well. Really nice.
I think that would be a great meme as well.
Yeah.
If you're going to make a meme,
yeah,
I think that would be a really good one. So yeah, that's a great one. I like that. So is that 5 books each?
I think you've still got one. We've got one more each to show.
One more each to show. Okay, so I'll show this one then. I'm just looking behind me to see what I have. This is Bob's Burgers.
Bob's Burgers.
So this is another show where there's a cult following. I like Bob's Burgers. I actually like Bob's Burgers more than a lot of series nowadays. It's one where I found that a lot of families that they show, like Hollywood hates families. Like it really hates families. Usually it's a single mom. The father's been killed or chopped up or something. They always kill the father somehow. Or it's a defunct family where it's like they're barely a family. They hate each other. They act like they terrible to each other. Well, Bob's Burgers, they love each other. They're actually a functional family, and they work together. They're like dysfunctional in a different way than they're poor, and they're struggling, but they're struggling together. you know, and that's what I like about it.
The Simpsons hang together as a family, don't they? I mean,
but they're dysfunctional. They don't, they you know, Homer always is killing Bart. You know, pretty much every episode he's like strangling Bart. Okay. This is much more loving, and that's what I like about it. I think it's like something that has been lost, you know, from Hollywood's. Like, I think Hollywood is like a bunch of people that are messed up, and they bring that messed up culture into the things that they create. This is one that comes from a place of love, and I think that's really lacking.
I have to say, I've never watched it, but I will. I'll seek it out and have a look.
It is fun. It is a very fun show, and it's actually interesting because not only do the parents love their kids, but the kids love each other. They're really supportive of each other. You know, it's really weird. It's like weird to see nowadays. It's almost, you know, it's quite
unusual,
touching.
Yeah,
but it's funny. It's got really great humor. Yeah. So it's definitely one I recommend. This book I think it's kind of gone up because it is a popular series. I think they're on like 6th season now or something. You know, it's still going. It's quite popular. So Bob's Burgers, a show that I really like. I watch it with my kids, so it's a good one too, because then it reminds them that Daddy's not so bad. So yeah, it's pretty good.
Right. So my next one is a bit topical because this is just airing. Its 3rd season has just come out, and this is The Boys. So I picked up.
So you went from functional to dysfunctional. Now you're going.
Yeah, we've gone very dysfunctional now. Yeah, this is about as dysfunctional as you can get. So this, of course, is Garth Ennis goodness. And I've very nearly got a complete set of The Boys now. And so I've got all the original ones, and I've just about filled out all of the issues. But this one is the 2nd printing. But I picked this up from a really quite low price.
Nice.
2nd printing, so it only came out. This is, but what I like about it is it's signed by Garth Ennis.
Oh wow!
It's a 9.8, and I really like The Boys. I haven't yet watched the 3rd series. It's only just come out.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. I've seen the first 2, but
yeah, my wife's away tonight, so I'm probably going to have a Boys binge session and watch a number of episodes of The Boys, and see what Homelander is up to these days.
Something corrupt. So actually, there's an interesting book. I'm not sure that you have it, but there's an interesting book if you're interested in Garth Ennis and maybe some of the kind of origins of The Boys in a way, like almost like what would like what's called a prototype book?
Yeah, precursor.
Is The Pro.
Oh, I've got it.
That is a funny book.
I've got it.
That is really funny book. There's a sex scene in that book that is hilarious. Yes. And that is a great book. I
picked that up about 3 months ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Like that is just hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah.
The lady with loose morals who gains superpowers.
Basically, that's a good description. Yeah. So that book, it really does set the tone for what The Boys is going to be.
I can see The Boys evolving out of that. Yes.
Yeah, definitely. So I would actually recommend The Pro as a book to get if you like The Boys. It's kind of like that level. Yeah. So yeah, but it's a hard book to find. And
not if you are 8 years old.
No, these are not meant for kids books. Yeah.
Okay, I think that's it. That's your lot. Say goodbye, Allan.
Bye, Allan.